Madam, kindly.
Yeah, sure, sir. So today is the second session of MBP2. Yesterday we covered in MBP2 there are a lot of sections. So yesterday we covered about kinds of editors and kinds of editing, and the relationship between the editor, author, and publisher. Right. Today we are going to have a look on style manuals, house styles, the technologies that are upcoming in the industry. Acquisition part we have talked about it in much detail earlier also. Peer reviewing process, how the progress is tracked, these kind of things about the covers, how the book covers are designed. So all these we will talk about today. So I'll start from the style manuals. That is the third unit of block 1. So we have talked much about the manuscript uh, editing, manuscript reach to the publisher, how the manuscript is reach to the publisher, how the evaluation is done and all. Now the manuscript is in production department. So along with the editing, along with the content editing or the text editing, including grammar, language check, there is also I told yesterday also that term style is also there in the editing part. So this has also very vast things in that, very vast points in this cover. So in this unit we will cover that what is a house style, what are the different types of style that editors looks for, what are the style manuals that are available in the publishing industry, right? So Uh, style is required basically for the better presentation of the text. Right? It is not only the designing aspect. It is not only the you are presenting your content with the lines, borders, and colors. It is not that, but here the style means to present your content in a well manner that is good and that is readable and that is presentable to the reader when one is reading your content. There should be some flow, there should be some consistency in the content so that the reader gets good impression of your content and they get engaged in your contents, right? So there are two main terms, style manuals and house styles, right? So what are the style manuals? Style manuals are the have been developed by very large organizations in the publishing industry. Uh, and for different fields, there are different manuals. Like if the book is going to be published in law field, there is a different style manual. If the book is on medicine, there will be a different style manual, right? So manuals are very comprehensive and detailed, right? They are in itself they are very big books of 1,000 pages, of 800 pages, because they give the very detailed description how every content, how each and every element should be presented in the manuscript, in the final book actually, right? So what kind of elements are there? uh, like I have told you that the book is structured in three parts. There are three parts of a book, right? There is a prelims part, there is a body part, and then the back matter, right? In the prelims, it is also called the front matter of the book, front matter, body, and then the back matter of the book, right? So style manuals have a very detailed instructions in them. Like if the prelims are there, if the front matter is there, so what will front matter include? There will be a half title page, there will be a full title page, copyright page will be there, preface will be there, forward will be there, uh, sometimes about author biography will be there, about the book will be there. So these elements will be there in the book, but how they need to be presented, how they need to be sequenced in a book, whether the preface will come first or whether the forward will come first, how can how does a one editor decide for that, right? Because there are four editors are working in a publishing house. All can have different perspectives, right, that the forward should come before preface. Some will think no, forward should come after preface. So to avoid these inconsistencies, so to avoid these confusions, the style manuals are followed by the publishing houses. uh, like for mainly for the academic and textbook publishing, the publishers follow the APA, that is American Psychology Association manual of style, and the Chicago manual of style, that has been developed by the Chicago University Press. Right, Chicago manual and APA version keeps updating. Like currently the Chicago manual has a 17th version, APA has updated up to 7th edition. So they keep on updating. And what kind of information they have, like I told you, the sequence uh, of the elements of the book. Like first the forward will come, then the preface will come, then the acknowledgement will come, also biography will come. Then how will the body part will consist of chapters of the book, main chapters of the book, that the main content is called the body of the book. Right, and the back matter will contain the elements like appendix, they will be there. Sometimes bibliography or references will be there, indexes will be there. These kind of afterward will be there, these kind of elements will be there in the back matter. So the styles or the instruction provided by the manuals for the text also, like how the figures will be cited, right, how the references will be there. References are the citations or references. Suppose an author is doing a research on a book, on a topic, right, they are writing on some law book, right. So an author also uh, takes the reference from some published materials, some books, some websites, some magazines, right. So if they are citing the information of, or if they are using their information in their book, they need to source that, they need to write that we have taken this information from this particular source, this particular published material, right. So what happens that in the text, just a short form is given, paragraph is given, or sentence is given, and then in bracket just the main author name or publishing year is given, right, because it will not be very good looking that in the text in between us a lot of publishing details are coming, right. So there in the short form the authors include the reference details, and at the end of the chapter, or maybe sometimes at the end of the book, the reference details are there, right. If it is a book, then the author will have to include author of the book, publishing year of the book, title of the book, publisher of the book who published that book. Earlier the publisher location was also mandatory, but now as per the updated editions of few manuals, the publisher location is not mandatory. So they cite this information. But you know how the reference will be styled, whether the author will come, obviously the author will come first, but the how the book title will be styled, whether it will be in the title case, whether it will be in the sentence case, year will come first at the starting of the reference or at the end of the reference. These kind of styles uh, are defined by the manuals. Yeah, so publishers mainly have a fixed style that yes, we will follow CMS, that is short form for Chicago Manual of Style. We will follow Chicago Manual of Style for our references, right. So the editor who is working on the manuscript, they know that they have to follow the Chicago Manual. So they will go to the Chicago Manual, uh, refer there that how the citation should be there, how the details should be styled in the references. They pick up those details, they pick up those instructions and style their references in their manuscript accordingly, right. So because when you are going for an interview in a publishing house as an entry level or in a copy editor field, copy editing field, so you will be asked that are you aware of the APA style, are you aware of the Chicago manual, are you aware of the Harvard manual. right? So you should go through these manuals while preparing to enter in the publishing industry. These are freely available on Google, so you can browse the Google and can have look on the detailed instructions they have, right? So references styling is there. Then the back matter, how the back matter will be styled. Indexing for indexing also there are a lot of details, lot of instructions that how will they be styled, right? They are so detailed that if one does not know what indexing is, if they go to the Chicago manual or any other manual, they can get perfection in that, right? So there are so detailed versions of the information there. So these are the manuals. Yeah, there are very step by step guidance is there. And so while editing also, if you're working in an organization and you are copy editing any manuscript, and you have confusion regarding how it will be this term will be styled, or how this section will be styled, how this table will be styled, you can open the that manual and you can accordingly style. There will be no chance of confusion and all. Okay, so these manuals are standardized according in the international market also. So if sometimes the authors also tell us that in our manuscript we have followed APA style, right? So we will whether the publisher is following CMS and all, but if the author has said that we have followed the APA style consistently, so publisher goes with that only, that fine, we will go with your style and style as per the APA manual. So that's why an editor should be aware of these different manuals, at least the manuals in the of the field in which they are working. Right, if they are in the law field, they are in the medical field, so MLA style is there. So uh, choose according to your field, because everyone knows their background, everyone knows their educational background. I mean to say, so choose according to your pick the manual according to your field, and I would suggest to go through it, not in a in even not in a detail, if but at least you should have a broad understanding that the what the manual says about uh, the styling of the book and all. It will be easier and for you to, to perform better in your job, right? So one is the style manual and one is house style. House style is the style internally followed in a publishing house. Style manuals are there as per the international standards. Whatever, if we are doing editing in India, we are saying that we are following CMS. If someone is editing in US also, if they are following CMS, so there will be consistency in the style, right? But house style is specific to an organization, specific to a publishing house, and it is the part of that manual that the publishing house is following, right? Because it is not very detailed like a style manual book, but it has a few instructions in that, that we will follow these that we are going to follow style manual, Chicago manual, but in addition to that we will follow over this house style. If it is an Indian publication house, there are salutations coming with the person's name. So and a publisher may have their style, like they will address a male person with Shiri or with Mr., right? Dot or not dot, it will depend on the UK or US English, but Mr. or Shiri they can decide, right? Even if it is not a Indian book, or if we are talking in general also, the publishers generally don't agree to add the salutations of the author uh, in the author biography section, or on the cover of the section, until and unless they are very insisting on that, or the author is very high profile, one is one of the personalities in that field. That is a different thing, exceptions are always there, but generally the publishers don't prefer to add doctor, professor uh, in front of the name of the authors. uh, like in the autobiography said, and chapter opener also, publishers generally avoid that. So no style manual is saying that you should not give, but this is the style decided by the publisher. House style also contains information like we will not use percentage symbol, we will use the spell out form PERCENT, right? So these kind of things are there in the house style of a publishing house. And if you're working in an organization, the house style should be at your tips, because if you are not aware of the house style, if you are confused about the house style, you will not be able to do your work efficiently, right? And these are the mechanical things, no misses allowed here, because here you do not have to think that doctor is better or mister is better or professor is better. It's just you have to follow the instructions mentioned in the house style, that you need to do this or you need not to do this. So these are not excusable, so you need to be on your tips for the house styles. And style manuals also, according to your field, you should be aware. There may be chances that you're not aware of few points, or you're confused about few points. Obviously you can clarify them during the process, during the editing. But the house style, yes, you should be uh, very thorough about that, right? So style, one part of the style is this manual and all, style manuals and house style. And uh, style is also the, we can say, the style of the language in which the author has written, right? Right, generally also, if in a layman language also, if we go to a formal function, if we are going to a formal meeting, we dress up according to the that occasion. If we are going for an interview, we will dress up ourselves in a formal way, right? If we are going to a some family function, we will dress up according to that thing in a traditional manner and all. Similarly, this style works for the books also, right? I'm talking in a very layman language because the audience may be very freshers in the field, some may be experienced, so they may be knowing about that earlier also, but some may be very fresher, some may be very layman for the publishing house, because when we started we were also layman in a publishing, right? So style, yeah. So that's why, if suppose if the author is writing a retail book, a book that is going to be sold in an open market, like on airports, they are going to be sold, or like these are trade books, these will engage the normal reader, common reader. So they will try to write in a style that is a conversational tone, right? So the reader gets engaged with the author, interactive style will be there, right? So if an author is writing a textbook, so he or she will adopt the style of according to the students, right? So they will write according to the students, like they know that the students are new in this field, right? So they will start from the basic concept, they will start from the very common examples from the book, and then they will go to the complexities slowly and slowly. And the language will also, the use will be very simple and clear enough for the students, right? And if they are writing an academic book, they know that this is for the high profile researchers, high profile scientists, the book is written. So the author will prefer to write in a very formal tone, right? So these kind of styles, the language is written. Suppose this is an author is writing a children book, right? So it will not be a very formal tone, it will be a very attractive tone. Let's play this game, yeah, let's go, come on, we will start this section. So this kind of style the author uses in their, and novel, you most of us have read novels and non-fiction books at a certain point of time. right? So they are very in a relaxing mode, that the author writes in a way that the picture gets created in the mind of a reader, that yes, this is a scene of a murder and we are actually there, right? So the style of the language depends that how is the mood of the reader, in what context the author is talking about. So it all depends on the style. So what is the role of a copy editor here? Because see, like I told you, evaluation happens at each stage as per the job of an editor. If the acquisition editor is evaluating, they will evaluate as per their perspective. If development editor is doing, they will evaluate as their perspective. Production editor, I talked about later, they will evaluate as per the production aspects. And when the copy editor receives a manuscript for copy editing, they also evaluate their manuscript in detail. So in evaluation, one point is this also, that what is the style of writing of the author. Because some because in case the you are rephrasing some sentences, or suppose you are rewriting the complete paragraph, so your way of tone and your style of language should not be differ from the author, right? Because one is reading in a very formal way, and suddenly some conversational tone is there of few sentences or few lines, so the reader will get distracted and the reader will think that what I am reading, is it right or not, right? So there should be consistency in the style also, and this is the responsibility, also responsibility of the copy editor. The author also should look for it, that they should use the consistent style, and in most cases it is the consistent style that is followed by the authors. So they should the copy editor also should evaluate this in the first instance, that what is the style followed by the author of the language, and they should edit the language accordingly. And if sometimes while reading the copy editor feels that the style is not matching with the rest of the manuscript, they can obviously query the author, that here we are changing to match the your style. So the author can always check and confirm that the editor is right or not, right? So this is the style of the language, right? You have read the newspapers reports, they have different styles of writing. So these kind of styles are there. uh, in technical language, we categorize them in three categories: formal, informal, and colloquial style. Formal is the formal that I have talked about uh, in academic papers, research papers, and all. Colloquial is a style that is an interactive style, right? So this is the responsibility and job of a copy editor and an author, according to the here. Let's see here also, we have the target audience, target market in mind. So everything is done according to the target markets or target audience, right? Okay. So the there are tips on editing given, but I have talked about these later. Today there are so many sections that I have talked about yesterday only, right? So the copy editing is in much detail here, like how the an editor can make the article attractive, right? They can add a good quotation in the beginning of a chapter, right? So if the editor feels so, that yes, there should be a quotation, it will make the chapter or article look better, they can always query the author. And if the author says yes, include that, though they will they can include the that quotation or that section specifically. If sometimes if the author sorry, if the editor feels, copy editor feels that what it will be good better if we start our paragraph with some question, right? So they can always add that and query the author. A copy editor can raise as many as queries as they want. They as many queries, it doesn't mean that there should be hundreds of queries. They should be up to some limit. See, the if the quality of the manuscript is good, then there will be obviously less number of queries. If the manuscript quality is not very good, there will be a high number of queries. And the author, it is the author responsibility to resolve each and every query of the editor. But the editor also should think that they should not raise any unnecessary query. They should not raise any query that is very obvious. They are changing and they have raised the queries for that, because sometimes it has been seen that if the editor is if an editor is new in a field, they raise the queries, or like we have changed the numbering. Suppose it is 1 2 3 4, there is some error in the sequence they have changed. They will ask that we have changed the numbering, please check if it is okay. If it is a very obvious grammar change, they raise the query. So also in the references, like I told you, there are specific details. There are standards that if it is a book, then these details should be there, like book, author, publisher, and uh, yeah, publishing year will be there. Like if it is a general, then there will be a author or editor, whoever is there, editor will be there, article title will be there of journal title will be there, volume will be there, issue number will be there, page number will be there, right? So if any of the details are missing, the editors are supposed to query the authors for that. But sometimes they are also very easily available on the internet. Some suppose just a page number is missing, or the editor is doubtful about the article title, that it is right or not. So they can always go on go to Google and search for that. They can get the correct information. They can always insert those information. So what does it mean? That the editor should also be very careful while raising the queries to the author, that they should be logical, they should be relevant. And also one point need to be kept in mind while raising the queries, that the authors are not the technical persons in publishing industry. They are technical about their content, they are aware of their content, they are knowledgeable about their content. Some may be experts in the publishing also, but not everyone we can expect that they are experts in the publishing industry, or they know about the technical terms in the publishing industry that we use, like citations, bibliography, references. Sometimes the editor uses these terms in the queries. Provide the citation, please provide the citation of this table. So sometimes it happens that the authors are not very sure that what does it mean, right? Because these are not the normal common terms for a layman person, or for a person who is not aware of the publishing processes of the industry. So they get confused, and what will be the result? That they will not reply, or they will ask you to clarify the query. You will have again to again approach the author. It will be only the time wastage for you and for the author also. And sometimes the authors also get irritated, that they get angry or they get frustrated with you, or at last with your publisher. And so these things the copy editor should be very careful about. Copy editor should be clear that the sentences the sentences that are written in the manuscript, they should not be confusing. It should not be the case that everything is clear to you. Sometimes it happens now that you are reading a sentence and it is not clear to you, and when you are reading it second or third time, then it gets clear to you. So you cannot expect the reader to understand it in one go only. So when you are not able to understand, then first click should be there, that there is a problem and this should be changed. If you are changing and if you are able to change, then well and good. If you are not, then you can always go to the author, that please suggest the change here, we need to break it into the few paragraphs, few small paragraphs, right? Okay, the style also consists of ways of conveying information, like uh, what happens sometimes, like your book or your chapter is very process oriented. You are describing so many processes in that chapter or in a book, and you are and the author has used in paragraphs that you need to do. First step is this, and then after this we will use this, and then after this we will use this. In a paragraph, author is given the information. So this is not the right way. This will not be clear to the reader. So what can the copy editor do? What can the what call can the copy editor take? They can break them into the that text or that section into list 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the, because we are not changing the content here of the author, we are just reorganizing the content that the author has provided. So this is the way of providing the style of conveying your information, that how well you are conveying your information, right? So if sometimes it happens that in a there is a big paragraph or there is a big section, and we are talking about some specific topic or some main topics in that paragraph. So if it is not possible to break that, we can always highlight that those specific terms or those specific definitions. Highlight can be anything like bold. You can give the that terms in bold, you can give those definitions in bold, you can in in italics you can give those definitions. If you if you feel that some definitions should be highlighted, you can obviously give that. Then the designs and illustrations part is there. This is the actually the separate unit. We will talk about that later in detail. Photos and illustrations, there's a separate unit on that. So there are different ways of providing a style in a general and in a book, right? uh, so for the general, what happens, one general has so many issues, so many volumes, right? So one general has one style. So whatever the volumes are coming, whatever the issues are coming, upcoming issues, all journals will follow one style. Sorry, one journal will follow all volumes and issues of one journal will follow that style only. So what will the copy editor do? Copy editor has been assigned some article of a journal. He or she will open just that style sheet of that journal only, and pick up those style and edit that specific article according to the style of the journal. But for the books, every book is different. For every book, the authors are different. The style is different. So for every book, there is a different style sheet created by the copy editor. There are three styles you can say. Style manual is there for a copy editor to refer. House style is there for a copy editor to refer, and one style sheet is created by the copy editor while evaluating the manuscript. What kind of points are covered there? Like how the numbers are given in the manuscript. Generally, it is done that 1 to 10 numbers are spelled out, and then we follow the numbered format. After mm, 10, 11, 12, 13, 10 onwards, we use the numbered format. If the century word is appearing, how it is appearing? If it is 2 1 century, 21 century, or it is written in a spelled form century. Right, so these kind of points, while the evaluation of the manuscript, a copy editor makes notes of those points. How many headings are there? These kind of styles are created by the copy editor for editing the book. Okay, the house styles we have covered. And one more thing that is upcoming these days. I didn't see in your course, but if you are aspiring to be in a publishing industry, one topic more is coming these days, is more prevalent, that is DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. Publishers are very focused on this topic, because throughout the world there are wide debates on this, according to the World Health Organization, according to the WTO, according to the World Bank. There have been many announcements, there have been many news these days on DEI. So the and in the publishing houses there are separate training sessions for these topics: DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It In brief, it means that we should include. There should not be any diversification between any gender, between any race, caste. Uh, we should not exclude, or we should not write different language for if there are disabled person or differently able person, right? So these terms are also prevalent in the publishing houses. So what is the authors and or what are the authors and editor responsibility in these topics here? If the author is writing a manuscript, suppose they are writing in the on the subject of politics, right? So they are writing the cabinet minister does so. The duty of a cabinet minister are these. Generally, as per our culture, as per our upbringing, we use he only. Like he performs this function, he does this work, and uh, some authors follow he or she, but sometimes that also got very cumbersome to write he or she, he or she, he or she again and again. So they is the preferred usage nowadays instead of he or she, right? For a singular person also we use they. So while acquisition or while doing the development editing, the publishers inform the authors that we use this pattern DEI. We are following this strictly. So while writing your manuscript, please take care of this aspect, that you should not use any term, any word in your manuscript that is offensive to any gender, to any caste, to any race. Like earlier, the in American literature, it was very there blacks and whites, but now this is not called blacks and whites. So these kind of uh, things that are upcoming in the or that are that have been recently prevalent in the publishing industry. So we should be aware of these also. Yeah. Yeah. Styles are also related to the, so these I was talking about the style of the copy editor. So this style, this point is also covered in the copy editing checklist. So if you are working as a copy editor, you should focus on this also. Okay. Punctuations and all are also covered in the styling. See, some punctuations are standard as per the grammar, that obviously we will add end period. If there is a need of a comma, we will need add comma. We will need colon or hyphen or dashes, etc., according to the need. But some punctuations are as per the style fixed by the editor. Uh, this is mainly in the cases of equations, in the cases of list that we are giving, right? So we can fix the style, like before starting any list we will give the colon, or we will use the punctuation as per the flow of the sentence. We will give uh, end period or full stop only in the case when the list has a complete sentence, otherwise we will not give that. So these kind of punctuation styles are covered in the styles, but the quotation marks, abbreviations, and all these are part of the UK US language. So UK US language, sometimes the authors have, sorry, publishers have their house styles that we will follow only the UK English. So they inform their authors in advance only that it is our house style and we are going to use UK English only. Exceptions are always there if the authors are insisting, or if their authors are very consistent about their usage. So the publisher can go with the author usage also. Sometimes the publishers prefer to use the author style only. So when the copy editor receives the manuscript, they look for the dominant usage by the author, and they if they see that the dominant usage in the UK English, they will follow the UK English. If the dominant usage is of US English, they will follow that. Sometimes the authors have also started using sometimes Canadian English, so they will follow that in the complete manuscript. But everything should be very consistent in the styling. So uh, you have decided the styles and all, you have made the points, but if you are not very consistent about your styling, it will not be of any use. And right, so style sheet is very important, because it's not necessary that you are only working on one book. If the book is large, or if the time constraints are there, so your manager can divide your book, few chapters to you and few chapters to some other editor. So if the style sheet, the clear and detailed style sheet will be there, so if both editors are following that same style sheet, so there will not be any problem of consistency and all. So there is a focus, that's why there is a focus on the styling and all of the book, right? So we have covered enough about the styling and all. These are mainly the mechanical things and the decision making things, actually. If you are good at making decision, if you are good at taking calls, and this comes these skills, this expertise comes with the experience. Slowly and slowly, when you have done few books, it comes, you are very able to, you are very quick to fix the styles and all of your book. Okay. So now we will focus on the technologies that are upcoming and that the publishers or the publishing industries are using these days. As you know, the no field now is untouched from the uh, technologies, from the IT field, from the artificial intelligence. So if the publishing industry will not follow, they will lag behind. So they have also started using the technologies, right? So we will talk about the new concepts of publishing, what is e-publishing, what are the future openings in the publishing, what is digital publishing, these kind of so many technologies we will talk about now, right? So there are many new concepts are developing in the publishing industry. Earlier, the everything was done on paper. When I also started my career in the publishing, the manuscript provided by the author was in CD format. So we used to insert the CD in our desktop computers, and then the manuscript we copied the all the files, and then we started working. But prior to us, prior to me, there was the trend of hard copy. So the people worked on the hard copy. The publishing houses was were filled with the papers and all, because the copy editor is also doing their job in hard copy. The proofreader is also doing their job in hard copy. But now when we work in a company, mm, there is a hardly any chance of get seeing any paper, because everything is soft now. So this is the effect of technology, right? With the technology, the advance, the benefits we all know, the speed, the accuracy, the time is always there, right? The new the just a second, I will take a break of just 5 minutes. I need to have water. Yeah. So the content delivery concept is also changing in the publishing industry. The main focus is now on the packing concept. No, not always, but yes, it happens with it happens sometimes. It happens with some publishers, that they focus on the good packing concept, that if the reader will see that the cover and the packing is of a book is the cover only, so they try to design their covers in a very stylish manner, in a very attractive manner, so that the readers get attracted by that, and they the sales will be increased in the market, right? And with the upcoming technologies, a doubt always comes in our mind that uh, sorry, there was a I got my throat choked, so that's why just the weather is very bad in Delhi these days. Okay, yeah. So with technologies, upcoming technologies, the always the doubt comes in our mind that whether the publishing industry or whether these physical copies will exist or not, or for how long they will exist. So this is an obvious doubt that comes in everybody's mind. But sometimes it happens that uh, there's a concept of there is a saying that old habits die hard. So some people like to read books, physical books. They love the smell of papers, right? They like to mark in the book while reading. They still like to have bookmarks in the book. So for these people, the physical books will always make sense, will always make uh, content. So I was talking about the presentation of the content. That topic just come in between. Old habits die hard. Uh, while deciding the style that we talked in the last unit about the style, so there is a process that is followed for the fixing the style of the book. Here I'm talking about the style of the presentation of the content, no, not the language and all, not the style, but the presentation of the book. So what is the style? When a copy editor receives a manuscript for editing, they prepare a sample chapter, right? What they do in a sample chapter, they will pick up the elements of a chapter or of a book. What elements will be there? They will take that, okay, this book has in prelims or in a front matter of a book, this book has preface, acknowledgements, and about the author section. So they will pick up that text, raw text, it need not to be edited and all. So they will take that raw text from the manuscript from the chapter, and they will include in their sample chapter, right? After that, they will see that what all elements are there in a chapter. Okay, chapter number is there, chapter title is there, obviously. Then what is there? uh, Learning objective section is given there, so they will pick up that learning objective section and put that in their sample chapter. And then they will think there are four levels of heading: section 1, then their subhead, then their subhead, then their subhead. So they will pick up all those headings, all those sections, small chunk of text within that, and they will put in their sample chapter. Suppose boxes are given in the manuscript, or suppose epigraphs are going there, so they will take that. In the back matter, they are seeing that there are references given, or at the end of the book we have glossary given, or we have list of abbreviations in the prelims. So they will pick all different elements from a book, and they will put in the sample chapter. It will not be more than 10 to 15 pages chapter for a book. It is more than enough. Sometimes it also get covered in 7 to 8 pages also. It depends on the number of elements that the book has, right? They prepare one sample chapter in a word file only, with the proper tagging and all. Then they pass this sample chapter to the typesetter or compositor. They ask them that we have this book, please prepare the sample layout of the chapter, sample layout of the book, and share with us. So what the typesetter will do, typesetter will take these elements, they will flow in their software, in design and all. They will create some sample layouts, two or three sample layouts of that same sample chapter, what will they do in the sample chapter? They will fix the style of the how the chapter title will appear, how the figures will appear. Will there be a border with the figures or not? How the table will be there? Will the table have alternate shading, or will the table will be just a box? If the section headings are there, which section heading will be look like? How the section headings will be look like? Which font will be there? uh, if the font is there, the what font size will be used for which heading? So with if the boxes are there, so some different designs for different boxes will be covered. So these different designs will be covered in 2 3 layouts. Then the all 3 layouts are shared with the editor by the typesetter. Then the editor takes a call, which is better. There may be few rounds of revision for the samples, and then the sample gets decided that okay, this book will follow this layout, and that remains consistent and that remains same till the book goes to press. The typesetter, proofreader, and copy editor all follow that same style. Right. So now the term is very prevalent these days, electronic publishing, or we can call it e-publishing, or right. So the every as the trend is now of e-publishing or electronic publishing, the to be there in the market, to remain there in the market, to be competitive in the market, publishers are actually very active in the digital industry also these days. If they are producing a book in a physical format, they are simultaneously producing the book in the ebook format, epub formats, digital formats are there. So that and when the once the books is sent to press, it is simultaneously get uploaded on different platforms like Amazon, Flipkarts, uh, in a different online platforms, because now the publishing houses also have their online platforms. So they upload on those so publishers are very active in the digital field also. Just a second. Yeah. So electronic publishing covers many points, like digital formats are there. uh, PDF is there. PDF is a very common. Now, as I told you, now no one works on paper until and unless they are very technically challenged, right? EPUB format is there. MOBI format is there. HTML is there. The things is there. EPUBs and ebooks. I will come to that later. EPUBs and ebooks are very similar sounding words, but there are some differences between those. Digital sorry internet electronic publishing also covers your multimedia elements, online platforms that I told you, the websites. They are the publishing houses, they are mostly in the case of textbooks, along with all the books they have their companion website. With every book they will have the companion website also, where they will upload the online resources for the students, for the instructors, for free of cost. Sometimes they are paid. So and that website link goes on the back cover, so that whoever is reading the book, whoever is purchasing that book, they get to know that okay, this book has a website. Suppose the questions are given in textbook, exercises are given in the textbook. So for instructors there are also solutions available on the website. So while teaching in the classroom, they have the correct answers with them also, so that there is no confusion with the uh, uh, instructors to clarify to the students and all. Like with the digital publishing, we know that it is very accessible. It is easy to distribute. Publishers are able to update the content very dynamically, because what happens in a physical publishing, if there is a change and we get to know that okay, we have already printed 1100 copies, but now there is a change in the book that is mandatory to happen. What will have the publisher to do? Either they have to wait for the new reprint, then when the new print run will be when the new print reprint will be done, then we will make change. And if it is a mandatory change, like for instance, once it has happened with me, that a dedication page was to be given in the book, but it somehow got missed to be given because of some miscommunication and all. And when the books got printed, the whole print run was printed, and the book reached to the author. He saw that okay, this dedication is not there, and he dedicated that books to his some family member, some very close family member. So he was very arrogant about that and very adamant that no, all needs to be changed. So the publisher had to change all the copies that page. So in this, the publisher has to bear the risk of loss and all. But in the digital formats, this is not the case, right? If they want to change any content, they can simply go to their content on the websites on the digital platform, and they can change that. So there are reduced risk of loss is there. For the digital rights, as we talked about the copyrights and all infringements and all, so there is are also laws on the digital rights management, on the copyrights of digital rights. So basically, the electronic publishing has revolutionized the publishing industry by providing new avenues for content creation, distribution, consumption. uh, as I told, that it has a greater flexibility and interactivity compared to the traditional print publishing. And the readers are also like these days, because everyone has access to internet, so they want to read online only. So the publisher, if the publisher today is not into the digital world, is not progressing into the digital world, they will not be able to survive more in the publishing industry. Right. So everyone is focusing on, everyone has a main focus, in fact I can say, on the digital publishing these days. Right. Newspaper industry also, every newspaper, each and every article is there on the uh, internet or web, we can say. So when the industry is developing, and the editors are doing their work, so they need also to be updated, right? Because publishing house will, obviously the publishing and house entrepreneur will not do everything. They will be, the task will be done by the editors only. So the editors should also be well versed with the technologies, with the upcoming technologies in the field. Like the main technologies that are being used by the typesetters these days are XML, HTML, JavaScript. uh, we take the compositor or typesetters for granted, but they are updating themselves very fastly. And the task comes to that vendor more, who is updated in their technology. Indexing is there. So sometimes we need to just update the page numbers. uh, Earlier what happened, that a manual indexer sit and searches for the page numbers and updated that page numbers in the index. It was a time consumption, it was a costly process. But now what happened, you just give to the typesetter, and they will uh, play around the XML and all, and they will give you the final content in a day. So what the manual indexer was doing earlier in 10 days or 7 days, now the indexer is providing you the files in 1 or 2 days, right? And sometimes also without any extra cost, if you are providing them the project. So they will, they are doing typesetting of that book. If they have other services also of that specific book. So maybe there are chances, if you have good relations with the vendor, if you have long relations with the vendor, they can provide you this service free of cost also, right? So the editors also need to be very well versed, because we see that some publishing professionals are there. Now they are very aged, they have very good knowledge, they know more than us, but they are not very technically sound. So they have difficulties now to get jobs into the industry, or to do the even the freelance works in the industry, because now the industry also prefers the technical people. Even if you are an editor, you should be well versed with the functionalities of the Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, how does the PDF work. So these kind of, and you also should have, if you have basic knowledge of XML and all how they work, so you will be better to you will be able to better handle the your vendors, right? Because if they have any questions, they will come to you only, and if you does not have any skills or knowledge about that, you will not be able to answer them. So it is better to be updated. Right. Like in the copywriting also, there are very auto checks nowadays. These have been a very long ago process, that auto run checks and all are the IT team of a publishing house. They develop their own software, in-house software, so that the publisher also does not have to purchase anything from the third party. They develop their in-house software for the, so the competitor does not need to go each and every word to be consistent. They can just auto run the uh, software, and the high consistency issues and all will be highlighted. Obviously they cannot rely completely on that software, because software is mechanical, and obviously there is a value of a human brain, right? So there may be inconsistency shown by the software, but it is fine. Like I told her, that word well known, it is a very confusing sometimes, that whether it should be hyphenated or whether it should be spaced. The author has used both versions. The software will give you the error that there is an inconsistency issues. But if the competitor feels, if the competitor checks and see, okay, this is the spaced version is of the noun usage, or is of the adverbial usage, and hyphenated version is of the adjectival usage, so it is fine to go. So obviously so you can depend on the auto checks to some extent, but you will have you can't depend 100% on them. Like if you just are running the spell check in the Microsoft Word, so a very common spelling, form and from, so both are correct for the Microsoft Word. They will not raise the error in that, but when you're reading the context, you will get to know that from should be there in the sentence according to the context, or form should be there, right? So uh, technologies are there in every field: editing, typesetting, and the final content delivery, obviously. Okay, so in the delivery also, it also happens that see, we are publishing in India. There is a requirement to deliver the stocks in some Indian state only. Suppose we have to deliver in Maharashtra, we have to deliver in Kerala. The publisher is in Delhi. They are printing. Their printer is in Delhi, so they will deliver those by courier and all, the specific number of copies. But what happens when there is a requirement in the US market, when there is a requirement in some any other London market, or South Africa market, Pakistan market? So what will be there? So if the publisher, if the Delhi publisher is delivering those copies uh, by air courier and all, as you know, air courier are really is very costly, right? So it will be a high cost for the publisher. So for this also, the publishing industry has devised a solution. So there are organizations in the uh, international industry. What they do, that if we are printing in Delhi, we are publishing in Delhi, we will provide one version of our file to that organization. Like one organization very that is very well known these days in the industry, that is Ingram, right? We are printing publishing in Delhi, we will provide the final version of the files to that organization. So what will happen whenever demand comes in the US, right? We are printing in Delhi. If that suppose the demand comes in the US, so they will print at their end only, and they will deliver from US to US only, right? They will obviously charge some fees from the Delhi publisher, but a lot of expense gets reduced in that. So the final soft files are provided by the publisher to that organization, and that organization gets print at their end whenever the demand comes. Obviously, in loop with the publisher. The publisher is also in the loop. and they deliver that specific number of copies to the required uh, place. So this is the technology that has been that has been started, and it is very effective. And not in the this is not the case in the different markets, like one publisher or some different institute. It is also within the publishing houses also, like the multinational companies in the publishing industries. Suppose the organization is of US, right? And they also have their units in India. So we are working in India, and we have published, we have completely processed the book. We have prepared it till the final version of the press. But we are doing it for US, our US branch, US office. Right? So what we will do, we will just send those soft copies to the US. They will print at their end, and deliver to their market or their target market, whatever it is. So this delivery pattern has also, this technology has also changed the delivery patterns. Right. Uh, then there are changes in the, and it can be categorized into the computer aided publishing, electronic publishing I talked about, and desktop publishing. Electronic publishing mainly, I was to tell about you the EPUB and ebooks. Ebook is a digital version that uh, digital version of the books that are that are available across the internet in all the versions. And EPUB is a format that is included in the ebook, that is a part of the ebook only, right? That is ebook is sorry, EPUB is accessible through any of your device. Like if you are using tablet, if you are using your smartphones, if you are using your laptop, you will be able to see the same book in the same manner, without changes in the layout, without changes in the formatting or presentation of the book, right? So every company, every publishing house is going for that. And these are the terms that have been developed by the some world organizations, some international organization like World Web Consortium organization is there. These terms or these formats have been developed by those. But some online platforms like Amazon is there. Kindle version is very common these days among the students or among common readers. So for the EPUB, for the e version, they have a specific format that is called MOBI, MOBI. So they use that version. So publishers are producing their books or publishing their books in all formats. Like I told you, with the physical books, they are producing along with that EPUBs and ebooks. So ebook basically is a broader term that encompasses any type of book or publication in a digital form. But EPUB is a specific file format designed for digital books, because as I told you that it is accessible for on all the movable devices, uh, e-reader devices, tablets, smartphones, and all I told you. So this is the question that you can also get in your exams or in your interviews also, that what is the difference between the EPUBs and ebooks. Desktop publishing is nothing much. It's just the styling of the it is in industry for so many days, and you may also be aware of this. It is just the doing the typesetting on the desktop, on the computers, in the digital format only. Earlier it was not the case. Earlier means a long back, I can say here. Uh, Everything, the layout of the book and everything needs to be styled, set manually, and it was a long process to do. But now the compositors, the typesetters, are using the technologies like XML I told you. For typesetting, mostly the typesetter are using the InDesign platform, right? So the in InDesign you can format or style a 300 or 400 page books in 2 or 3 days only, which took earlier more than maybe approx a month also. So you can just format your book in 2 or 3 days. You just need to flow your manuscript and a few instructions, a few headings, few options you need to select, and your manuscript will be formatted. Obviously it needs the effort of a typesetter, it needs the efforts of operator of a typesetter, but the process has become very easy with the InDesign software. Mm. So electronic publishing I have covered. E-publishing, uh, hyperlinks are very common these days, because if we are publishing an ebook, so hyperlinks must be there for figures, for tables. If a figure is written there, figure 4.2, uh, we there should be there must be a link for that, that if the reader is clicking on that link, they should move to the specific figure or illustration. In indexing, there are hyperlinks for the pages. If one is clicking on some specific page number or link, so they will be taken to that specific page numbers. So the hyperlinks are very important these days. Then the also there is now a trend of audiobooks. So in multimedia, that is covered, and that's called multimedia publishing, when we are using the animations and when we are using the sounds in our books. So there is a very trend of audio books. Publishing has combined it with the publishing combined with the radio. Nowadays there is a Cuckoo FM for the books. You need not read the books. You just open that and you can hear the sound, the very, in fact, very clear sound, clear and sound you can hear, right? There is a text to speech version also, you must have seen in the computers, in the books, that the text is written. You need not read that. You will be able to hear that only. And the publishers are also following this pattern, to follow the DEI approach, as I just mentioned, because they here are including the specially able person who may not be able to read because they are visually impaired, but they will be able to listen to the books. So the main target of the book, the information that the publisher and author wants to convey, uh, they are getting that information. So in the DEI concept, this is also there, that we should not try to exclude anyone different from us in any way, right? So till now, if you have any query, uh, we can go through them. Then we will move further, because it is already 1 hour that I'm speaking. So if you have any query, then please. Okay, no queries at all. Fine. Then acquisition and commissioning unit is there, but I have talked much about these in earlier sessions. So if you have any queries regarding the commissioning or acquisition, you may please raise, because I don't think that I have not covered anything here. I have given in very detail what the acquisition do and all, how the manuscript reach to the publisher. Okay, fine then. There is a process called peer review. This happens also at the time of acquisition only. This I did not cover, so I will cover this process here. This happens both in journals and books. Right. So we are talking about mainly about books here, but just a second. So this happens in both journals and books. This is the process mainly done by the subject experts of the specific publication. Right. What happens when the acquisition editor or when the author submits a manuscript to a publishing house? It first goes to the acquisition editor only. Acquisition editor will evaluate the manuscript at their end as per their aspects. But for the subject knowledge, obviously the acquisition editor cannot be expert on each and every subject, right? So they look for the subject experts in the specific field. Suppose it is a law field or the book is on physics, so they will look for those experts. They provide them the manuscript, and they ask them to submit their inputs for uh, the manuscript as per the subject. Peer reviewers review the manuscript. They provide the content, so their inputs on that, that how the text can be revised, how the text can be improved, what more information can be included in the manuscript, how it will be more clear to the student or the reader, whoever is reading the book, right? So basically the peer reviewers are the subject experts, and mostly they work on the freelance basis, or freelance basis, or normally they can work also free of cost sometimes. Suppose an acquisition editor has a good relation with some high profile professor, someone, and they can ask them to suggest their inputs on some specific manuscript. They can suggest their inputs, and they can acquisition editor can get the manuscript revised. But one point that needs to be kept in mind, that while sharing the manuscript, the uh, the name of the author is never revealed, right? Because when the name of the author is revealed, sometimes it may happen. It is not necessary, but it may happen that the feedback that is coming from the peer reviewer is not biased. Uh, Sometimes it happens that the both are the professors of a same organization, they are colleagues. So if they know, if one person knows that this book has been written by my colleague, so they are not very I can say they are not very tend to, or they are not very willing to give their input. Are uncomfortable that if they give negative feedback, so it will affect their relations and all. Or it may happen that if they know the name, and then the name is very high profile in the industry, uh, they will avoid making any negative feedbacks, because they know, because they feel that yes, this person is high profile and this person is more knowledgeable than us. So it may happen that the inputs may be biased if the name is revealed, if the author name is revealed to the peer reviewers. So the editors generally avoid to give. One kind of reviewer, book reviewers are there. So book reviewers are not the in-house resources. They are not on the freelance basis. They do it on their own. You may have seen some articles in journals, newspapers are there. So they do their review on their depending on their own willing. But yes, here the role of an editor comes. Suppose we are doing the second edition of the book or the third edition of the book, so we should always go through the reviews of the book reviews that have been written. Because in the publishing industry it generally happens that the book reviews or their book reviews published in newspapers or magazines are shared with the editors, that you have done this book and this is the review that has been published in a newspaper of your book, right? So uh, the editors generally keep remain updated with the reviews of their books. And if it is not my book also, my means an editor book also, but I have been assigned a book to do the third edition of the book, or to do the revised edition of the book, updated edition of the book. So to be more accurate, I should go to the reviews of the book, whether they are book reviews published in the newspapers or magazines, whether they are 2 or 3 line reviews on the online platforms like Amazon or Flipkart on Kindle. So I should go through these reviews. Why? Because it will positive reviews are very good, but if there are negative reviews, so we can improvise those points in our updated edition, in our next edition. Whatever gaps we are seeing in the reviews, we can obviously correct them in our new edition and or updated edition. Okay. Sorry, the some Wi-Fi issue was there. Sorry for that. Right. So where we were we on the book reviews, na? Yeah. So it is done in the starting only, and accordingly the manuscript are revised as per the guidance, as per the advices of the peer reviews. This is the process only. This is a very short process, 1 or 2 months process. Once the editor, once the peer reviewers give their feedback, the manuscripts are revised by the authors, and then the books get ready for the further publication process. Right. So now we will move to unit. I think 7 is there. Right. So we are talking about also about the production process and all. So as I told earlier also, that one book has a specific schedule, assigned schedule. There's a book has been assigned to production in February, and at that time only the editor will be told that this book need to be out in the market in June or July or August, whatever is the time, taking the specific time, 4 or 5 months time, standard time, that is in mind. But that's why there is always a need to track the progress of the manuscript. It does not happen that when a copy editor has started the task, they are taking out of 5 months, the copy editor has taken 3 months, and for the rest of the process, we have just 1 month or 2 months in hand for the production. Because in these 6 months or 5 months, printing time is also involved. Printing also takes their own time, 10 to 15 days or 20 days to get the books printed according to the print run. So uh, it is the duty of the editor who is doing that book, who is owner that book, to track the progress of the manuscript, that how it is going. So for that, what does the editor do when they get the book or the manuscript to publish? To do, they prepare the schedule of the book as per the timelines, And generally the schedule is made by back calculation. Back calculation means, like, we know the process: first the editing will done, then typesetting, then proofreading, then rounds of revisions, and then the final, the printing. So we start generally the scheduling from the last stage, that printing will take 15 days. Okay. So by the end of June, so if the books needs to be out in at the June end, I need to hand over the book to print by the mid of June. So by 10 June I need to hand over, taking few days in buffer. So before that, our rounds of revision will take approx 1 month, suppose. So by mid May our typesetting should be completed, so that the rounds of revision comes. So these kind with this way, they prepare the schedule of each and every book with the in a tabular format, with each and every detail, that on this date I will send the manuscript to the copy editor, on this date I will receive the files from the copy editor, on this date I will receive the files from the typesetter. So that if there is any challenge in meeting the schedule, it can be escalated at the right time. Or if there is any need to modify or to change the work process for some specific book for some reasons, so it can be done at the initial time only. That's why the schedulings are very important. So an editor should have this skill also of scheduling and tracking the manuscript. So for these different formats are there followed by different publishing houses. So we need to follow those only. Or if that they, sometimes it also happens that there is no specific format by the publisher, so an editor can create its own format uh, for the scheduling. One is there a terms come a manuscript acknowledgement, right? So this is the acknowledgement form. Actually, this is the book information sheet that is shared with the author also, that we have received your manuscript and we will publish this. This is also covered in the contract, but there is a separate acknowledgement form that the publisher fills, and they submit it to the editor. There is a sheet called book information sheet. The terms may differ between different publishing houses, but this is a sheet of every book, each and every book. It covers all the main details of the book. It will have the details not only for the editorial department, it will have the details for the marketing department also, for the finance department also, for the sales department also, for the customer services also. It will have the details or the information for everyone. Like for the main details, what are the main details of the book? The main details are: what is the book title, what are the author names, what are the author contact details, what is the ISBN of the book, what is the print run of the book, what is the MRP of the book. Some short summary of the book will be there, so that whoever is reading that sheet, they have an idea that what the book uh, actually includes, right? Like for the yes, for TOC is always there in the book information sheet, because TOC is not only required by the editorial department, this is also required by the marketing department. Because as I told you, the digitalization is happening in the publishing industry also. So the what the marketing does when they post their books on upcoming books on their websites, they put the TOCs also in the on the website. So whoever is reading your whoever is having a look on your the advertisement of your book, uh, they can know that what topics are included in the book. So marketing people also needs that. Then marketing needs the information for the cover, for the book side, yeah, for the cover, that how will be the cover design. So if the acquisition editor or if the author has some some options or some suggestions for the cover. They include those. Sometimes the competitive book titles, book covers are also included in that sheet, so that the marketing has an idea that what other books in the competitive marketing are following, other how their covers are designed, so that they can design their covers in a better way. Yeah. Marketing information is there. Then for the sales people, uh, there is the information of the market that the book will serve. Suppose the market will serve the logistics professionals or the undergraduates of Indian universities, or undergraduates or postgraduates of the uh, any universities who is following the UGC guidelines. So the target market or the readers information is included for the sales people. Right? For what does the finance need? Finance needs the information like PAN number of the author, the royalty will be the author. If there is any nominee of the author, that there must be in the contract. So it is included in there that this person is the nominee. Suppose in case of any accident, so the finance person should know that to whom the royalty should be paid at last. Right? For the customer service mainly deals with the author, the phones and emails. But they then there is a department also that have not talked till now. There is a warehouse and dispatch department. All right. So for them also, there is a information that to whom the final printed copies will be delivered. So that when the books get printed, the dispatch department delivers those physical copies to the specific address, obviously confirming on the after confirming on the emails and phones. So that means information that is main information that is required by the each of the departments of the publishing house is included. And yes, for the printing department also, for the printing department, the paper to be used for the printing, uh, and for the editors, book size, what book size will be there of this book. So every information, main information, is included in that sheet. So what happens when the acquisition transfers the manuscript to the production department? They share this sheet, and if there are any changes in between by the production department or by any of the department, uh, they will update that sheet. Mainly there are not changes after the production or editorial department, so they will update that sheet, and that is circulated among all the departments. One email is circulated of the with the attachment of that sheet to all the relevant persons in the specific department: sales, finance, marketing, etc. So this I am talking about this BIS here in the tracking part, because this BIS has the publishing month also. That's why I got into detail of this publishing month also. So if by tracking or by scheduling, the editor gets to know that yes, we are not able to meet the uh, assigned deadline, and if after discussion that it's get decided that okay, instead of June we will get the stocks in July, so that sheet is updated, and then again it is circulated among all the departments. So with the scheduling, everything should be considered in there. If there are any specific instructions by the authors, suppose the author has mentioned that I will not be able to review your proofs in the soft copy, please send us the hard copy only. So generally the publishers don't do these days, but yes, if the situation demands, it has to be done. And while scheduling, while this is important in scheduling, because obviously the hard copy takes more time than the soft copy. It will need to be printed, and then it will be delivered to the assigned address, specific address, and then they will do their work, and then again it will come. And obviously seeing the hard copy corrections and soft copy corrections, there is a difference in time and all, right? So this is the tracking part. So you need to be. very aware. Then there is a kinds of copy editing. Copy editing we have discussed enough in detail, that there are three levels of copy editing: level 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it is called simple, medium, and heavy copy editing. If you are a freelancer, simple copy editing I will cover just in brief because I have discussed in detail yesterday. Simple copy editing, it will be just typos, spellings, and basic grammar and punctuation errors you will fix. In medium copy editing, there will be some upper level minion copy editing. In addition to this, you will get into more detail. You will mm, uh, reframe the sentences a bit, not completely reframe the sentences. You do not have the liberty to rephrases the complete sentence and all, until and unless it is a requirement. Basically it is said in level 1 and 2, or simple and medium copy editing, that you need to correct the wrong, but you need to improvise the correct, the right thing, right? But in level 3 editing, or we can say the heavy copy editing, it is you need to you may need to restructure the flow of the content, maybe one paragraph up or down. You may need to rephrase the sentences, you may need to rewrite the complete paragraphs. So these are the levels of the, these are the copy editing levels. And if you are a freelancer, because mostly publishers are preferring these days the copywriting on a freelance basis, uh, then you are paid according to the levels of copywriting. If it is simple, then the rates will be less, medium bit higher, uh, and heavy copywriting, obviously the highest, it goes up to 100 rupees per page, 200 rupees per page, 150 rupees per page, according to the complexity of the book. And if you are working as a copy editor, you should ask from the person who is assigning you the task, whether you are a freelancer or whether you are a in-house person. You should ask for the this book information sheet, because this is the main information. You should ask for the house style that is followed by, for the style manual that is followed by the publishing house. And if the layout is decided, layout has been decided, because generally the layout gets decided before the copywriting only. So you should have the layout in your hand. Obviously you will not format, but you will have an idea that the book you are editing, how finally the it will look. So you can edit your content, or you can style your content according to that. So these are the, for the for being a copy editor, you need to have the good language, grammar skills, right? The consistency and all. You should have the knowledge of styles and all. So this is copy editing. Checklist also, I have talked about these, what styles are decided by the copy editor and how they are decided. Then copy mark copy editor has also to do the in addition to doing the language and style of the text, they also, there are also some points where the copy editor cannot do anything, but they need to instruct the typesetters, right? If some list, not list will not be a good example. If some equation is there, suppose, right, and they're not able to edit it, that is given in the picture format, so they need to instruct the typesetter that set this character in italics, set this character in Roman. Or suppose there are some graphics, some figures are there that need to be fixed at specific place, right? Because generally the rule followed for the placement of figures or tables is where they are cited first, where the author has cited them in the text. The typesetter will automatically will check the citation, will automatically place that figure near to the citation, right? So they are floating elements, these they are numbered and they are floating elements, that they can be four or five sentences later, they can be five sentences above the citation, depending on the space available on the specific page. But what if some unnumbered illustration or graphic is there? Suppose there is a book on history and the author is talking about Shivaji. So obviously the Shivaji photograph will be there in the section of in the section where there is a discussion on Shivaji. So the copy editor needs to instruct the typesetter that please place this image at this after this section only. So these are called the unnumbered illustrations or unnumbered figures. They need to be have in the specific place, and the numbered elements are called generally the floating elements because they may float above and below the citation. So see, the typesetter is not very good in the language skills and all. They may be, but it is not expected from them. So the instructions that you are giving, that a copy editor is giving to the typesetter, should be very simple, that they should be very clear, that they can understand. Because if that typesetter is getting confused in the instructions, they will format your book according to their understanding, and the complete layout of the book will get distracted, and there will be rounds of revision, right? So um, some instructions can be for some specific places, like I talked about the to place that figure or to place that equation, or to set some text in. Suppose a copy editor wants that this text should be in a center position, so they are placing their instruction there. But there may be some global instructions also for the book. So it will instead of mentioning it in every chapter. Suppose I want that learning objective section should be in a center, or suppose the sequence I want to change of some back matter elements, that the multiple choice questions will come after the review questions only, or the before the review questions only. So instead of giving instructions in each and every chapter, because the typesetter may also have number of operators at their end, and it may happen that two operators or three operators are working for your book. So what does the copy editor do? They create one typesetting style sheet here. One is the style sheet that is with their copy editor for editing of the language. Then the copy editor creates one style sheet for the typesetter. In that, what they do, they will include the global instructions for the book that are applicable for all the chapters, and along with the manuscript figures and all. What does the manuscript contain? They will provide the style sheet to the typesetter, and then the typesetter will format your book according to your instructions, and there will be no confusion, no inconsistency if two or more operators are also working on your book, right? Then the proofreading is there. Proofreading we have also discussed yesterday, that they compare the copies, right? They look at the physical presentation of the text. They look for the typesetting errors. They look for the consistency issues that may be missed by the copy editor. Responsibility is of copy editing only, but the proofreader ensures that there are no errors left in the manuscript. So they mark the manuscript. Earlier, the proofreading happened also in the hard copy. Uh, if you will search on Google, there will be some proofreading marks. So there are some globalized proofreading marks that the proofreader uses. So that was more common in the more useful in the hard copy, because in the hard copy you need to instruct clearly whatever correction is there. But now everyone typesetter proofreader is working on the PDFs, and there are very good tools in the PDF only to insert, delete anything. So the copy mark and those symbols or those rules work for PDFs also, but they were more useful earlier when they were proofreaders were working on the papers. The layer process we also have discussed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Then the cover design is there. I don't think I have talked about the cover earlier. So cover is the most important part of the book. Obviously the content is, but the presentation affects everything. The sales of the book. Uh, if I'm standing on a bookstore, so I will not read the content at that time. I will look at the packing only, at the cover only. If the cover will attract me, uh, then I will go further in the book, that what does it contain in the TOC and all. I will open the book. So the cover is very crucial and very important part of the book. It is done in consultation for designing the cover. All departments, acquisition is involved, author is involved, editor here is development editor, production editor, and marketing persons. All these persons are involved to finalize the book of a sorry to finalize the cover of a single book, right? So the cover are decided obviously on the basis of the size of the book. Uh, there are different bindings used for the book. So if the book is hardback, the cover will be designed accordingly. If the book is paperback, the cover will be designed accordingly. Uh, so there are few elements of the cover. I will show you just a second. I'm sharing my screen. Um, so this is the sample of a book cover, right? So there are three parts of a cover: front cover, back cover, and the spine. These are three main parts. This is called your front cover, right? This is your back cover, and this is your spine, right? So what does we cover on the include on the front cover? There will be the book title, the complete book title will be there. The author name will be there. The publisher name will be there, and publisher logo will be there. These things will obviously the design of the cover, whatever we are deciding. These things will be included on the front cover. On the back cover, uh, sometimes there is a book title at the top, sometimes not, sometimes not. Then a short text that is a synopsis of the book, that is technically called blurb. This text is produced by the in some organizations by the production editor, and in some publishing houses by the development editor. So that's why I told earlier that editing is a skill that is needed at each level. If you are in editorial department, whether you are any editor, so if a development editor is producing this content, so they need to have a good skills in the language, in the grammar, so that this content, because this content is going, whether it is of 4 or 5 lines, sometimes it is also of 2 paras long. So there should be, uh, and this is the first impression of the reader, so there are no chances of errors. This is the ZZ zone. ZZ zone is called zero error area zone. So the prelims and the cover part are the zero error zone. So any error, any mistake is not tolerated here, right? So the production editor or the development editor, depending on the profile of your profile, you prepares this content and you provide to the marketing department, and this get pasted here, right? For book design, sorry, first we take the inclusion thing. This is the ISBN and barcode that we talked about earlier. So this is the barcode of the book, and this is the ISBN and all of the book. This is generated by the uh, ISBN. I told you that some person is there in the editorial, assistant editor kind of person, and they apply for the ISBN and they get the ISBN. That ISBN is included here. But for barcodes, now there are auto softwares. So when the ISBN is inserted into that application, barcode generator application, so the barcode is automatically generated by the that application, and this is mainly done by the marketing person who is designing the covers. Right? On the This is the spine of the book. On the spine of the book, we mainly include the logo of the publishing house, the book title. If complete title is if complete title, if the space allows the complete title to go, then the complete title. If not, then the half title or full title will go there, right? Then the author name will go here, right? So this here we will include the cover design. So what happens for the cover design? The if the author has some suggestions, they provide that these are the suggestions from my side. The If the editor has some suggestions, they provide. And if finally it is the cover designer who designs the cover according to the details provided by the editor to them. Who editor? Acquisition or development editor. Whatever the details are provided, like what is the book title of the book, the TOC is also shared with the marketing, with the cover designer, so that uh, they have knowledge, or they know that what the content is, so they can accordingly look for the uh, designs, right? Because if science books are there, so for science books we need some literal designs, right? If management books are there, we need some designs that may not be literal, but that reflects the concepts in the book. If it is a novel, if it is a novel or fiction book, right? So the cover designer should know that what market the book is targeting, so accordingly they will fix the design. They will not fix the design, actually they will look for the designs. They select few images for the cover, 2 3 images or 4 5 images, whatever are available to them. They share these images with the editors. uh, Editors also make the selection out of them. So the final images that are selected by the editors are then shared with the authors. Because the book is of authors, so covers are also always shared with the authors before printing. So the design that the author approves, and the editor also approves, that finally is confirmed to the cover designer, and accordingly the cover designer designs the cover of the book. If you have any and also for the promotional purposes, we can include more things on the cover also, like you may have seen the 1 million copies sold. These are for the promotional activities, and if the format for format not format forward, if the forward of the book has been written by some very high profile personality in that industry, so you can it is mentioned here that forward by this one, right? If it is a book on Bollywood industry and the forward is written by some like a great person like Amitabh Bachchan, and also it will be written here forward by Amitabh Bachchan. Like if it is a management book or a branding book, so in management or branding, David Acker name is very on the very top. So if you have forward written by David Acker written here, so by the mention of that name only, your sales will increase. So a lot of time. goes, a lot of revisions goes. Acha, one is the dust jacket also. Dust jacket cover is, like you all must remember that in the student life we used to cover our books or notebooks with a brown paper. So the dust jacket is same. However, our notebooks look like after the applying the or application of the brown cover, the dust jacket is same. That the book hardback cover is there, and then the a jacket type cover is also on the uh, cover of the book. So that portion includes sometimes about the author information, about the book information. So instead of the back cover, they will include the book information on the that jacket part of the cover, that flap we can say, inner and out flap. And also, in addition to this out cover, there is also an inside cover of the book, that is short form is IFC and BIC, inside front cover and inside back cover. So some publishers also use them for their promotions, for the advertisements of their previously published book in the that specific subject. uh, they use the inside front cover and inside back cover, right? So according to the different publications, like if you are publishing a book or if you are publishing a magazine, according to the shelf life of the book, the cover is decided. Like a shelf life is of 1 year of a textbook, so a paperback cover will be there. If shelf life is of more than 10 years, 15 years, the hardback cover will be there. If a magazine is there and it will survive in the market only for 1 month or maybe for 15 days, it's a bi-weekly magazine. So the quality of the cover will be less in that. So as a standard, a normal cover, for a normal cover, a paper of 100 or 150 GSM is used. And that makes a uh, okay cover, that not very light, not very heavy. Mm. So now just a few things are left, I think. Okay. Then there is an art proofs. Just give me a minute. I'm just my charger is lost, so just a second. My battery is running down. Yeah. So now there are art proofs and artworks. Artworks are very crucial for the presentation of the content, as you know, right? Where were we? Just a second. Yeah. So the artworks thing, the picture things are there from the early age only. The earlier the artworks were engraved on walls and stones or woods, but now this is not the case. There are different kinds of illustrations we can categorize. There are hand-drawn illustrations are there. There are photographic illustrations, and there are computer-generated illustrations. Right. So the illustrations which are hand-drawn, they are drawn by the pencil. They are drawn using the eraser and all, by the lines and all. So these are called the line illustrations that are without any gradient. So the hand-drawn images are mostly of the uh, this line arts we call the technical terms, right? But to create a photographic effect of that line art only, the gradients are used, some background shades are used from the shading of the pencils and all. Then these are called the continuous tone images. Actually, in the artworks section, there are many technical terms. So there also a need of understanding, but you before your exams and all, you need to learn so many things, that what term is used for which kind of illustrations and all, because there are so many kinds of illustration. Silhouette style of illustrations are there, when images are presented by only outlines. They does not have any do not have any content in that. Collage style is very common when the two or more images are included in one single image, right? So screenshots are there if the book is on some software or internet related book. So the screenshots are there in the book. So what is the editor role here? Editor needs to look for the quality of the image, need to look for the resolution of the image. So what happens in the no, at the editor's end, when they receive the manuscript, when they receive the art, obviously along with the manuscript, they sent it to the typesetter, because ultimately it is the typesetter only who needs to format the figures and all, right? So it goes to the manuscript go to the along with the figures go to the typesetters. They prepare a detailed chart that is sometimes called art log. In that they include each and every figure, and they include each and every detail about that figure, details like whether it is a line art, whether it is a graph, uh, it is a photograph image, but it is not of high resolution. This will need to be to go in the high resolution. And this is the graph. These are not very clear. Suppose the map is there, and the labels on that map are not very clear, so they will mention that this is not a clear image. So and we will be able to convert that image, or we are able to redraw that image. uh, they include all that information in one sheet. They provide them to the editor, and accordingly the editor takes a call. If that is some figure is a photograph, obviously the photograph is a thing that the author can provide only. So editor will ask the author that this is a low resolution image and it will not look good in the printing format, so please provide us some different image for that. But yes, for the screenshots and all, uh, uh, generally the different versions are not allowed, are not available actually, because the author has worked on that manuscript and the screenshots are not now not available. So some if the low resolution is some low of the screenshots also, generally we accept those, editor accept those screenshots images, but not of the photographs and all if it is not clear, right? So this is the call taken by the editor. So there are very different kinds of images, half tone images, as I told you. Duotone image, duo here is the two colors, when the two colors are combined to make one image, right? So when the typesetter has typeset the proofs, in there the images are appearing. But when the editor is going through the proofs, they observe that some specific figure is not looking very good in this format. It is taking so much space, and some irrelevant image is going, some irrelevant space is appearing in the manuscript, in the figure. They can ask the typesetter to crop the image, to shorten the size of the image as per the requirement, right? To change the placement of the image, they can ask for. obviously the nowadays the image generation and all is not a very tedious process, because all this task has been is being handled by the computer software. Corel Draw is there, Photoshop is there. So the illustrations part is mainly handled by the this software. You We should be very careful that our image is not moving up to the bleed area of the page. Bleed area is the blank area after the text, between the text and the edge of the page, the blank area that appears, that is called the bleed area. We should avoid any image going there. And if some artwork, if some image is uh, actually going there, needs to be go there, so we should try that no important information is that figure is going in the bleed area, because there are chances in the of misses if it happens, right? So we have done about this. So I would suggest you for this thing, for artworks and for printing thing, you should go through in detail your study materials, because there is a lot of thing to memorize the terms and all, the basic process, how it is done, and what the calls should the editor take. I have talked about here, but these should be uh, there are a lot of many terms to memorize, right? And in the printing stage, at last, the comes of the printing stage, the editor has taken their call and all. But when the printing stage comes, so at the printer end also, the printer does not print 1100 copies or 200 copies in one go. They take the they print one dummy copy or one evaluation copy at their end, to check if any printing issue is not in the book. If something if some information is not going in the bleed area, that is that will be hidden in the binding of the book. If any paper cut is not hiding any information, or if the page sequence is not wrong in the book. So for and for the images also, if the image colors are getting uh, out clearly, if there is no any error and all, so they also do 2-3 rounds of check at their end. If they have any confusion or any query, they uh, talk back to the publisher, clarify their query, and then once everything is approved, uh, most often printer prepares one dummy book and then shares with the publisher. When publisher gives a go ahead for the text and figures and everything, then only the printer moves ahead with the printing of the rest of the print run. So here I end. If you have any query, Devi Krishna, because you are the only person here available, so if you have any query, you can ask. Otherwise, okay. So fine, sir. So I think we should conclude now. The things are completed from my end.
Yes, ma'am. I think all the things have been handled from your end. Now,
Yeah.
we can meet for the next section, madam. I think that's in June. Or next
Yeah,
week we
next
have a session.
Saturday.
Next Saturday. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that will be great, ma'am. And we look forward to meeting you again next week.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for your
thank
time,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome, sir. Bye.
Bye.